Channel 358 News. This is Kara and JoJo bringing you tonight's news.
Tonight's top story comes all the way from Tokyo, Japan. Today marks the anniversary of Minimoto disease. The disease had killed over 4,000 people, and now with this story is Maddie. Maddie?
Oh, hi JoJo and Kara. Minimoto disease came across in the early 1940s, although the first documented case was in 1956 in Japan. It's a neurological syndrome caused by severe mercury poisoning. Minor symptoms of this include ataxia, numbness in the hands and feet, general muscle weakness, and many more. In extreme cases, effects could be insanity, paralysis, coma, and even death. It was caused by the release of methylmercury in the industrial wastewater from the Chiso Corporation's chemical factory, which continued from 1932 to 1968. Methylmercury is a highly toxic chemical bioaccumulated in shellfish and fish in Minimoto Bay in the Shirane Sea, which, when eaten by the local populace, resulted in an epidemic of severe mercury poisoning.
Thank you, Maddie. Our next top story is about a Brazilian environmentalist named Chico Mendes, not to be confused with Shawn Mendes. Ha! Get it? No? Okay. Liz?
Hi, Kara and JoJo. Chico Mendes was a rubber tapper in the Amazon. When he was young, he questioned why they were always in debt to a company. He was determined to learn to read and write. His father taught him what little he could, but a man named Euclides Fernando Tavora taught him how to read in 1960. Tavora was a man from a higher class, on the run, that's why he was literate. Mendes spent time as a literacy teacher and spent extra time educating his community about how badly the tappers were treated. Chico became president of the Zipori Rubber Tappers Union when he proposed that the residents link arms in order to keep branches and loggers from cutting down the trees. He united many environmental groups. In 1977 was elected as city councilor and brought up many important issues, but was considered a threat to national security and was arrested and tortured. A couple of years later, he helped create the National Council of Rubber Tappers. In March 1987, he flew to Washington, D.C. to successfully convince the World Bank's U.S. Congress and others to change how they funded the development in Brazil and support the creation of extractive reserves. When he returned to Brazil, many ranchers were unhappy about Chico's success in ending their funding. One of these ranchers, named Darley Alves da Silva, had bought Chico's home plantation and later publicly threatened to kill him. Darley had convinced his son Darcy to shoot Chico as he exited his home 3 days before Christmas in 1988 with Chico's wife and children inside. With his international prominence, the Brazilian government arrested Darley and Darcy for 19 years. His death was also the turning point in his country. 20 more reserves were made containing more than 8 million acres of forest. A quote from Chico states, "At first I thought I was trying to save the rubber trees. Then I thought I was fighting to save the Amazon rainforest. Now I realize I'm fighting for humanity." Who are you?
I am the ghost of Chico Mendes.
That he did. And thank you, Liz, for that interesting story. We'll be back right after this.
Get your hybrid car today!
What's a hybrid car?
Well, it's a car that runs on 2 or more sources of power.
Does it do any good?
It saves money and helps the environment.
Who cares about the environment?
Get down!
Who are you?
I am Mother Nature.
Why are you here?
To tell you about hybrid cars.
Who needs to know about hybrid cars?
Hybrid cars help the environment. Hush, child, before you say anything bad about the environment, you should know that without it, you wouldn't exist.
What do you mean hybrid cars help the environment?
They cut down on pollution, which help the environment.
I'll go buy one.
Buy a hybrid car now!
Now joining me in the studio is Maddie as JoJo goes to the field.
Yes, JoJo's reporting the work of Gifford Pinchot. JoJo?
Now joining me in the studio is Maddie as JoJo goes to the field.
Yes, JoJo's reporting the work of Gifford Pinchot. JoJo?
Hi, Maddie and Kara. Gifford Pinchot, also known as the father of American conservation, is a well-known forester and politician. Born on August 11, 1865, Pinchot knew from a young age that he would want to be a forester. Pinchot did great things for the environment, such as establishing the Society of American Foresters in 1900, founded the National Conservation Association, which he was president of that from 1910 to 1925, and completed a forestry school in Germany. In 1898, Pinchot succeeded Bernard Fernhout as a chief of the Division of Forestry. He was also the first chief of the United States Forest Service. In 1908, Gifford was fired for speaking out against his policies, which led him into his other career, politics. Gifford Pinchot was a Republican. He ran for Senate in 1914 and was the 28th governor of Pennsylvania. Pinchot sadly died from leukemia on October 4th, 1946, but his legacy still lives on today. And was the 28th governor of Pennsylvania. Pinchot sadly died from leukemia on October 4th, 1946, but his legacy still lives on today.
Now Liz joins me in the studio so Kara can report on EPA and the Superfund Act.
Yes, Maddie. EPA does a lot of good for the environment, and Superfund in itself does a lot of good. Here's Kara to tell you more about it. Kara? Kara, you're on.
What? Oh, EPA is an environmental agency. EPA, standing for Environmental Protection Agency, has passed many laws and acts to protect our environment. From regulating auto emissions to banning the use of DDT and cleaning up toxic waste to protecting the ozone layer, increasing recycling to revitalizing inner city brownfields. EPA's achievements have resulted in cleaner air, purer water, and better protected land. One of their greater achievements is Superfund. Superfund is the name given to the environmental program established to address abandoned hazardous waste sites. This law was enacted in the wake of the discovery of toxic waste dumps such as Love Canal and Times Beach in 1970. It allows EPA to clean up such sites and compel responsible parties to perform cleanups or reimburse the government for EPA-led cleanups. Now that we're back in the studio, we have our last story, and it happened not too far from you yourself.
Kara, it happened in Centralia, Pennsylvania.
The population of Centralia has dropped from over 1,000 residents in 1981 to 7 as of 2013 because of an underground mine fire that had started in 1962 and still burns to this day. Very few homes remain standing in Centralia because they were either reclaimed by nature or have been demolished by the Columbia County Redevelopment Authority.
The only indication of the underground fire is the steam and smoke coming from holes in the abandoned parts of PA, Route 61, and other holes and cracks in the ground.
Other signs of the fire include unstable ground and plenty of carbon monoxide. The fire may continue burning for another 250 years. No one knows exactly how it started. Some say that it was the careless trash burning in a landfill that sparked in an open mine pit, then ignited a coal bank. Much of the local populace decided to leave as asphyxiation and carbon monoxide poisoning became a daily threat.
Now all that remains of this once great town is a graffitied highway, an old church, and the cemetery where the smoke grate sits. The real question is, what can we do to prevent this in the future? Now that this great mining town is a great ghost town, we can learn from its environmental effects to prevent it from happening again.
And this is Channel 358 News, bringing you the environment.